couple more things we wanted to talk about. For those of you who've moved down here from the north, there are 3 plants that are generally pretty popular up north that we grow down here, but you need to take some precaution with them. And that's lilacs, peonies, and rhododendrons. Because we're right on the cusp of the zone difference of where they'll do well. And lilacs take full sun, but again, the South Carolina sun's pretty harsh on a lilac. So in the summer time frames when that July and August sun's beating down on a lilac, they don't look real good. But they will do just fine here. What we always tell people is get them in filtered sun, get them where they're just not going to get beat to death by that harsh sun. Peonies the same way, and probably the biggest one's rhododendrons. We sell rhododendrons over there, and they do very well. They love this time of year because it's nice and cool, and they're setting buds, and they're starting to open, and they do very well. We always tell people, if you're going to plant a rhododendron, though, find the coolest spot in your yard that can give it the most shade. Because, again, once that July, August sun beats on them, they're not going to make it. Okay, it's just going to be too harsh for them. Anybody who's moved up here from Florida, everybody wants tropicals, and you can get tropicals up here for about 4 or 5 months, but then you either got to bring them inside or put them in a basement or something. And the tropicals that do very well here are the palms, the Pendo palm, the windmill palm, the European fan palm, the sago palm, oleander, and fatsia. And fatsia is probably the most tropical looking, and it's right back there. It takes a lot of shade. It's just right behind those. Oh, here's one right here. Great straight man. This is a fatsia. It requires shade, and it does great here. This will get very big, and you can either prune it into a tree shape, or you can let it bush out and grow into more of a traditional looking shrub. But this does really well here. Things like, if you're coming up from Florida, things like the hibiscus we talked about, things about like the bougainvillea we talked about. We'll have those for sure, but we always tell people that they're really an annual here. So if you want it for next year, just take it in the house, put it in the basement, do something with it. Another thing that grows here that's very tropical are banana trees. Now, you wouldn't expect that, but they do. We've got some out there, and we keep some specimen trees on the other side of this little outbuilding here. And they produce fruit. But what we do with that tree every year is, there's about 4 of them, is we dig it up, we dig a trench, we put the banana tree in the trench, cover it up with mulch and dirt, and then in the spring we go dig it up, bring it back over here and plant it, and it grows. You could do that, and the reason we do that is because we want to keep the height of the tree so that when we plant it, we're not planting a short tree, we're planting a 6 or 8 foot tree. If you don't want to do that, you can cut it down and then mulch over it really heavily, and then in the spring it'll come back. But banana trees do grow here, and they do produce fruit. The other, I'm sorry.
One thing about the banana tree, if you want it to produce fruit, like the big ones we have growing over there, you have to bury it or store it under the house and have it go dormant but not die back. The tree has to grow for 15 to 18 months before it'll actually bloom and produce the edible fruit. Some of these new dwarf varieties, they can just grow up one season. They have the bloom, they have the fruit, but depending on the type, it's not edible.
We sell lemon trees, we sell orange trees, we sell limes, and all do really well. And it's interesting because over on the other side of the nursery, over by a house over there, there's a grapefruit tree that never gets moved. It's planted in the ground, and it grows grapefruits. Now, you wouldn't think that up here, but it happens. And when there's a grower in close to Myrtle Beach who grows citrus here in South Carolina. And if he were here, what he would tell you is that the reason it does well is because it gets colder gradually here than it does in Florida, where it might go from 70 to 30 in Florida, and that really hurts the tree. When it gets cold gradually, the tree gets more acclimated to the climate and it's not hurt that way is bad. Now, I will tell you this. We've got citrus trees over there, and we'll leave them out all year. We won't be bringing them in. And when it gets down to 18, as it's done here, I guess, past couple winters, I kept them out there because I wanted to see what they'd do. Well, to be sure, they looked horrible. After about a month after it got down to 18, because they lost their leaves. They didn't break open, but they lost their leaves. They just didn't look good. I will tell you that in the spring, they came back with a vengeance, though. They had more blooms and they had more new growth on them than the new trees that I just gotten in from California. So the answer is, yeah, they'll do very well here. The Myers lemon's the one that seems to do the best. It grows a lemon that's about as big as your fist, and it's a very sweet lemon. It's not a tart lemon like a Eureka lemon. But Myers do very well, and we'll have more of those in the spring.